The firepower regarding the 2023 presidential election litigation has begun. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has asked the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal in Abuja to dismiss all petitions challenging the declaration of Bola Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress, APC, as the winner of the February 25th presidential polls. INEC affirmed that having scored at least 1/4 of the valid votes cast, that is 25% in 29 states, which is over and above the 24 states threshold required by the Constitution. This in addition to scoring the highest number of lawful votes cast at the election. Hence, Tinubu was properly declared winner and returned as the president-elect. INEC in court now is buttressing this, and they've gone ahead to explain the yardstick of declaring Bola Tinubu as the winner of that presidential election, and they actually clearly stated to the tribunal the status of the Federal Capital Territory.
What we must first establish is that by approaching the tribunal to fault Tinubu's victory, the political parties challenging his election are not only trying to deny Tinubu the presidency, they're also trying to prove to the whole world that INEC and its handlers are incapable of conducting elections. Those are the issues on the table. INEC is a serious party to this case because should the outcome go otherwise, the whole world will be convinced that they didn't do a good job.
And they did a short job.
They also have the duty of defending that mandate, which they truly, truly believe is earned by Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Having said that, it is also for all of us to look at the election. I see a lot of things on social media, and I say that while we are all free to express our opinions, we must be conscious of how we are painting the country.
Yeah, that's that.
In my opinion, Ayo, and I'm saying this on national TV, irrespective of what anybody will say, the 2023 general election now, especially the presidential election, is something we as Nigerians should be proud of. We had an election at a time when money, we keep saying the role of money in election is this, is that. We had an election at a time money was scarce. When we could prove conveniently that money, the role money played was minimal. And yet, we are saying it is not acceptable. We had an election where a principal candidate of the ruling party lost his own base. The president of the country, his party lost his own state. The national chairman of the ruling party lost his own base.
And several governors.
And several governors lost their state. And several governors running for Senate lost their bid.
Yes.
And yet we still cannot see the goodness. We had an election, a presidential election, where a party that came to prominence in less than 6 months in the general election, running with somebody who joined the party barely 6 months, 3 months to the general election, defeated somebody who has been campaigning for years in his home state, winning in states far beyond. As an analyst before the election, I must say, and I keep saying it, that I own up to goofing in the area of saying Obi will not win in the north. He won, look at the spread. He went to Taraba and won. He won in Plateau. He won in Nasarawa.
He didn't win in Taraba.
He won in Taraba.
He won in Nasarawa and Plateau.
Check it. Okay. So you will understand the fact that he had the spread. That's the example I'm trying to. He won Lagos. Lagos. A stronghold, threshold, traditional base of the APC. He won it. So we had an election that proved to all of us that if you campaign well, if the people are enamored
behind you
and they line up behind you, you can win any election. That is the lesson, the takeaway from the 2023 election for us. But because we are disenchanted with a few things, we want to throw away the baby with the bathwater. We will come back to regret the day we decide to rubbish this thing we should be celebrating one day. I'm sure of that. Having said that, talking about INEC stance before the tribunal, it is the way to go. And all of us must submit ourselves to the tribunal, which is the judiciary now, to take a decision on what has happened. And we must stop jumping the gun. Some of the, like Paul said, some of the claims and rhetorics are not good for us. If you are dissatisfied with an election, you have gone to the court, you have approached the judiciary, you must be patient enough to wait and allow the lawyers do the fireworks. The lawyers know what to say and what not to say. But a lot of the commentaries you see outside the courtroom will make you feel that some people actually don't love this country.
Okay, when some people are saying that if the president-elect, if he's sworn in on May 29, that will be like a robbery on democracy. And I looked at that statement, and all the elections we've been having since 1999, anybody that is declared by INEC must be sworn in. Or, you know, we've had them. There's never been a situation where, and there are days that have been allocated for this case to be dispensed of. 21 days to use to file your petition. You have now 180 days at the tribunal and another 60 days at the Supreme Court. So why is it that people are clamoring that it should not be sworn in at all?
You see, many people behave in a way that...
this is the first time.
Many people talk in a way that disgraces whatever education they think or they claim they had. So if the declared winner is not sworn in on May 29, what should happen? We should have a vacuum. Or we should...
reconsider crisis.
Or Buhari should continue. Or we should bring the military. I don't understand. You know, it doesn't... The more you think about it, the more senseless it looks. You know,
I think that's what gave back to the idea of interim national
government.
Okay,
that is not in our constitution.
Kola is calling us from Lagos. Kola Olatunjoye is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Kola.
I have no caller. My name is Prince Olatunjoye.
Oh, Prince Olatunjoye. I beg your pardon, I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah. Good evening, Journal Hangout.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I quite appreciate both of you talking since this afternoon. I just want to lend my contribution because I actively participated in 25 February presidential election. Okay. And as far as I'm concerned, I participated in 1993 general election that produced MK Abiola. There had never been any election that is as credible, as reliable as that of 25 February election that produced Bola Tinubu in Nigeria. Most of the elections conducted by Obasanjo those days, in fact, they are not election at all. They are just handpicking. And they just, okay, this is the number of, okay, so person, you are one already. And I know we just pronounce them winning. If I'm Maurice Wu, is the most criminology electoral umpire in the world. And those people were clapping hands for them. And some of the people criticizing this presidential election now are those people who got appointment on that same election that produced the worst government in Nigeria. Worst government. Most criminology government in Nigeria. So if somebody says he's not pleased with this 25 February election, he says he's not pleased. I wonder how that person will please. I know how they manipulate Obi. They say he won in Lagos. Obi did not win in Lagos. I can tell you something.
INEC declared Obi in Lagos.
Lagos, go to court.
Started carrying some people.
Okay. Thank you, Prince Olatunjoye. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. But for the record,
everybody
INEC declared Peter Obi.
Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Exactly. And we cannot stop people from having an opinion. He said Obi did not win in Lagos. INEC said Obi won in Lagos. The only way you can say what you have said is correct is if the court says it is correct. Obi, as far as we are concerned, 25th presidential election, Obi won in Lagos.
No.
Now, as far as we are concerned, until the court say otherwise, if at all the court says so, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is the president-elect and it will be sworn in. The laws are there. You can't just say that, bring it into the national government.
The court will not even make the
Because, you see,
proclamation before
I don't know why
the
people
swearing
will
in.
be. I don't know why people will constitute
That's
themselves.
left for the court.
As
If
in,
they do,
still have time.
fine.
You
If
are
they
the
don't,
complainant.
he's swearing the
You are the complainant. You are the judge. You are the jury. Where is that done? And why?
No, if the courts, don't forget that this is the court of appeal.
And
If
then
they make-
there's the Supreme Court.
That's what I'm telling you. Even though if they make pronouncement before that day,
we have 1 month or so to May 29. I am, one of the reasons for the last constitutional amendment by the National Assembly is to ensure that all cases are done with before swearing in.
Yes.
We are gradually moving in that direction. I am hoping that the courts, both the appeal and the Supreme, will do away with these cases before May 29. Hopefully. If it happens, fine. But what we are saying on this table is, if that does not happen, it does not make any reason for anybody to say, don't swear in. We returned to democracy in 1999. The first election in 1999, there were litigations. Somebody was sworn in on May 29.
Exactly.
In 2003, there were litigations. 2011, 2007, even 2019, the last one.
Remember Yaradua had even admitted that the elections were flawed.
That brought him, were flawed.
But
He was sworn in.
Nobody
and he didn't resign.
Exactly.
At that time when he made that statement, cases were pending in court against him.
Exactly.
He didn't say because those elections
But that
are
time,
flawed,
they've not specified
I
time
will
frame.
resign.
But that time, it used to go on and on and on. Aregbesola pursued his mandate for 48
almost
months.
more than 3 years.
48
I
months.
think we need to rejig our
No, they've
our
done
laws.
that. They've done it.
That's more.
That's
done.
it started
what I'm
now.
trying to say,
180 days.
Even for the presidential election, if there is a way, I know that it's not. If there's a way we can restructure such that all matters.
I'll start and end at the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
And they will make pronouncement before.
exactly. So that
What you're saying
decisions
that
can
it
be
will
taken,
finish.
conflicts can be resolved
Before the
because
swearing
you know why it's very important. We've seen cases like it was in the case of so many governors who enjoyed the perks of
Mandates
office.
they never won.
For example, look at the running mate of the Labour Party now. The running mate of
Dati.
Dati.
He was in the Senate.
He was in the Senate
For more than 2 years.
before the court booted him out.
Before he was removed.
And he still calls him. He's not supposed to even call himself senator.
No.
Because as far as the court is concerned,
He was
an
never elected.
illegal occupant of that seat.
He was never elected.
He was never elected, but he still calls himself Senator Dati.
Beyond
All right.
calling himself a
All right,
senator,
let's
he's
just
also calling for
Derek,
action against election
Let's
riggers.
quickly go for this final break. We'll be right back. This is the final lap of Journalist Hangout, and then we are still looking at the Independent National Electoral Commission. They are replying the petition of the Labour Party. Now, talking about the controversial FCT, I checked before that election, I discovered that even President Muhammadu Buhari did not win FCT. Yeah. The FCT during his time that was declared as the president.
But it's got up to 25%.
Yes, what I'm saying that all of a sudden, this FCT issue just boom from the blues, and people used it that, even though you score you have all that requirement, but you've not had that FCT, the special status and everything, it's expected that the court will be able to make a pronouncement on this now.
People who are contesting the outcome of an exercise will always find reasons. It is the way of lawyers to look for holes to pick in your claims. However, I do not think that argument is valid, because you are simply saying that residents of FCT are more important than those who reside in other parts of the country. So what if I contest an election and I win 35 states. Let's say
Like
35
what
states.
INEC is pointing out here now, that INEC pointed out that the Federal Capital Territory is regarded as the 37 states of the Federation, and as such, a candidate need to score 25%
Yes.
of the valid votes cast in 2/3 of 37 states to be declared winner in the presidential election.
I can't disagree.
That's what INEC is saying.
I can't disagree with the INEC because it's also there in the Constitution.
Yeah, the Constitution
that
is clear.
The FCT will be taken as a state. The FCT is taken as a state. It's somewhere in the
But a
Constitution.
lot of people are saying that, and the Federal Capital Territory.
Yeah,
And-
it's an
So, listen here, if as I go ahead and say Paul, Ayo, and Dare are here, it doesn't make me more special than the two names earlier mentioned. It only added me to the two of you to make three of us. And that's, I've waited for INEC's response on it, and reading it, I was quite happy. What INEC has simply explained is that you need 24 states, 25% in 24 states, to be declared winner. If you win 25% in 23 states, and
you also win.
you also
the FCT.
win in FCT, you are qualified. And the FCT, because FCT does not have a state appellation, that is why the "and" is coming in.
yeah, the
so that you don't
explanation,
go
yeah.
and think that FCT, should somebody go and win 23 and then win Abuja, that is why that classification is there. And the FCT too
However-
is, sorry, please, having said that, INEC also made it clear that it is important that you win 25% in 24 states. A look at the contenders will show you that should anybody, it cannot happen. Lawyers, science and others have told us that it's going to be difficult for any lawyer to succeed in faulting Tinubu's election before any judge. Let us assume, without considering that it happens that we find error with the election of Bola Tinubu. What happens? Are we going to bend the constitution to allow people who didn't get 25% in the required number of states to be sworn in? The answer is no. So you begin to look at how deficient the cases are. PDP is not talking about Abuja in their own petition because they've been contesting the election. Labour Party, with due respect to everybody there, is a newcomer to the presidential race and litigations. So it's understandable if, and then they are clinging to all available straws. It's understandable. It's part of democracy. It is part of trying to use the court to score points. But how far the Labour Party or any party will go in using that to discredit the election? We had our caller telling us that from 1993, when that result, election that produced MK Abiola was held, till today, he is seeing 20, and I agree with him perfectly because a lot of things made it possible for us to see that we can actually hold elections in this country that will be free, that will be fair, and it will carry. All we need to be thinking of is improving on what we had on. I am not talking about other elections. February 25, it's one election we should study. What were those things that we did that we weren't doing before that gave us the kind of outcome we had? We need to study it and build on it. We should not throw away that beautiful historical event simply because some of us are not in agreement with the result.
A lot of people say because of the victory of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is not, you can't describe it as a landslide victory. That means the country is divided.
Yeah.
When you see the number of votes Asiwaju garnered, PDP and Obi, it's a divided country that the president-elect should concentrate first on how to unite the country moving forward.
Yes, that is actually the truth. Because one of the reasons why this is so is because of the general discontent in the land. Let's not pretend about this. Before this, what threw up a mind like Obi, what made people follow Obi, a lot of young people follow Obi, is because of the general anger in the land. People are not satisfied with the performance of the incumbent government. In fact, the cashless, the evil cashless policy that Emefiele, and Buhari introduced also exacerbated issues.
Honestly.
And,
Aggravated the poverty.
Exactly. The point is that President Bola Tinubu will have a lot of uniting to do. Because a lot of people, the people who think that it did not win, the people who think that the mandate of Obi was stolen, the people who are disgruntled, people who are even rolling drums of war are Nigerians. They are Nigerians. And many of them are lovers of this country. That's the truth. They want the best for themselves. They want the best for their children. We may not agree with their methods. We may not agree with their rhetorics, but they are Nigerians. And the president must find a way to, and the president, when he becomes president, must find a way to unite them, to unite Nigerians. There must be some healing.